Another segment on the sit down with Malik Wright, presented by First Star Logistics. On this segment, I have a simple statement that I want to make. Dak Prescott ain't it. Dak Prescott ain't it. For a team that is talking about Super Bowl aspirations, defense talking about how they're going to be very reminiscent of the 85 Chicago Bears and one of the most dominant defenses in history. Um, yeah, I was just not impressed from what I saw from this Dallas Cowboys football team. And it sucks because the Dallas Cowboys always seem to put their foot in their mouths. I understand it's the NFL. I understand teams lose unexpectedly. It's any given Sunday, right? Just like it's any given Saturday for college football. For me, this wasn't that. This was your quarterback had multiple opportunities with an abundance of talent there. He had a multiple opportunities to bring you guys back into a game against the Arizona Cardinals. To be quite frank, he shouldn't even been down from in the beginning, and he couldn't do it. This game was won and lost in the red zone. So it's not one thing where you got absolutely outclassed, you got outplayed. It was not that. It was the failure to score when you got in the end zone. Shout out to the Cardinals. I don't want to take anything away from you guys. Everybody counted you guys out. And what did you do? You stepped up to the plate. But I'm talking directly to Dak Prescott, the same guy who wanted a new contract, the same guy who says he wants to be the face and has the nerve to get an attitude when they go out there and acquire a quarterback like Trey Lance, for instance. You're doing nothing to make a case for yourself. You're doing nothing to make a case for yourself. The fact of the matter is, this Cowboys team is too talented to be losing to the Arizona Cardinals, respectfully. No offense to Cardinals fans. Your team is not good. You have one of the bottom 5 rosters in the NFL right now. And somehow, Hollywood Brown looked like the second coming of Jesus Christ against you guys. Somehow, Josh Dobbs looks like the MVP against you guys. Somehow. I have no idea. I had no idea what's going on. And to be fair to the Cardinals, they've been playing tough.
They've been playing
the last
very
couple of
tough.
weeks. They almost knocked off the Giants. They almost knocked off the Commanders. And they finally knocked off the juggernaut and the Cowboys. I can't wait to see what happens when they face the Eagles. But all I'm going to say right now is Dallas Cowboys, that was what we call a chin check. You guys got chin checked. And it's all about how you're going to respond. But right now, I just got one statement to make. Dak Prescott is not it. Daniel.
And I've got a lot more to say. I'm kind of pissed off right now, and it's not because I lost some money on the Cowboys. It's man, like I planted my flag on the Cowboys this offseason. And can you do me a favor? Who's the offensive coordinator for the Cowboys, if you can find the new one? Because I've got some questions, right? You can look at how they played this year, and Dak Prescott's a problem. I think Dak Prescott is a borderline top 10 quarterback.
Let me stop you right there.
Yeah.
We don't even got to look at who the offense coordinator for the Cowboys is. Brian Schottenheimer, just so you know.
Okay.
But the reason why I say it, because Mike McCarthy is the one calling the plays.
Yeah. So, and that should show you too. My biggest issue right now is Dak Prescott's a borderline top 10 quarterback. I think he's a good regular season quarterback. My issue has always been the red zone. It's been in crunch time, and that's the thing that hasn't changed. So if you're the Cowboys organization, you look at it. How do you fix that, right? You have a dominant defense. You have a dominant run game. But when you don't have that dominant defense, like last week, they were not a dominant defense. Stephon Gilmore was getting torched. Their secondary cornerback, Bland, was getting torched. Their rushing defense, James Conner, was running all over them. So my concern with this team is it works if you have a dominant defense. Dak Prescott, I truly believe, can make a Super Bowl with a dominant defense.
His decision-making so poor, Daniel.
It's very poor. It's very poor, and that's one of the things. My concern is they're not going to be able to beat the 49ers in the playoffs. They've been their kryptonite, and I promise you guys, with the way they're looking now, there's no shot that they're going to beat the 49ers. Mm-hmm. Is there a chance that they even beat the Eagles? So my concern is your offense needs to get more dynamic. It was Brandon Cooks, Michael Gallup. It was Tony Pollard. A perfect, thing is at the end of the game, they were running the ball in the red zone. And as soon as they threw the ball, it was an interception. That should show you it's the creativity on offense. And maybe it's a thing of because they dominated their first 2 games, sure. But I'm just concerned right now whether it's the offense creativity, whether it's the defense with the way they looked without Trayvon Diggs. The defensive line looked good, but they did not look like a dominant defense against Arizona Cardinals. Josh Dobbs running all over them. James Conner running all over them. So, man, if they don't have a dominant defense, I'm very concerned if I'm a Cowboys fan.
Well, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Has Dak Prescott even looked amazing this season?
He's looked fine. He's looked fine.
Right? He hadn't, the defense has been so dominant. He hasn't had to do much, to be quite honest with you. You know what I mean? I think that I think that, they faced the Giants and the Jets to start the season. They smoked the
Yep.
Giants, but that was in large part due to their defense absolutely just being savages right on the defensive
Yep.
side of the football and dictating the way the game went. The Jets didn't have a quarterback, so we didn't
Yep.
really get to see them tested. And then they faced the Cardinals, and maybe they sleptwalked into them. I have no idea, but I'm just saying a quarterback that is the leader of America's team, the guy that we talk about could be potential, could lead this team to a Super Bowl. That was not a good showing against the Arizona Cardinals. It just was not. It was bad.
And that's, I mean, we're speaking to Cowboys fans respectfully. Like, you know what you have in Dak Prescott right now. I'm sorry. He's not going to change. It's not saying he's not a good quarterback, but go back and watch these games in the playoffs. Look at the 49ers game last year. You can say that you played him close, but the man was having dropped interceptions. He had 3 dropped interceptions. You know what you have in Dak Prescott. He's a good quarterback. If you have talent around him, they'll be fine. But he's a guy where the only way you win a Super Bowl is if you have an elite defense and you play with a lead, in my eyes.
I've saw some debates between Cowboys fans on the good old X app, and I'll be honest with you. I think Tony Romo was a better quarterback than Dak Prescott. I think Tony Romo was a better quarterback than
I
Dak
like
Prescott.
Tony. I like
I'm
Tony.
be honest with you. I do. I
Yeah.
think the only thing that separates Tony Romo from a lot of these quarterbacks is the fact that he never won a ring. To be honest with you, I think
And
that's what it
Tony
comes
was
down to.
also able to create not outside of the structure,
No,
but
he was. You're right.
but Dak isn't.
Tony was so good out when plays broke down. He was so good at keeping his eyes downfield. And I know he's a couple years removed from the game, but I'm just saying if we're talking about the two of them, I think Tony Romo, was head and shoulders better than Dak Prescott.
Yeah, and that's creating outside of the structure, and that's I don't know, man. I look at Dak Prescott, like I said, I've got my opinion of him now. I've seen years and years and years of this. He's a good quarterback. He'll have those games where 3-4 touchdowns. He's got good receivers, but it's the crunch time. He'll always give the defense a chance, and that's my biggest concern. He'll give the defense a chance, and creating outside of the structure, he can do it. But we saw in that Cardinals game, like there was times where he's rolling to the right. He missed Jake Ferguson. What's he gonna do? Create something, make something happen, man. And like I said, if the defense isn't elite, like they weren't against the Cardinals, this team's gonna struggle, and sure as hell they won't make the Super Bowl.
So as you guys heard it here, I'm not a believer in Dak Prescott. Doesn't sound like Dan's a believer in Dak Prescott, but maybe you are. Let us know down in the comment section. Do you think Dak Prescott could lead the Cowboys to Super Bowl? Do you think we're being too hard on him? Do you guys think it was a fluke? I can't wait to see what some of you have to say regarding Dak Prescott. Let us know down in the comment section. But if you like more video content like this, give this video a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and turn on post notifications so you guys don't miss when we go live from the First Star Logistics Studio.